40 seconds left. Oh my God, guys, we won. We finished in an hour. Please,
yes.
Stop it. Stop lying.
Thank you for saying that, because it's
when she's
like a BB moment, which is like a beautiful black moment. Did we get any of those in this episode?
Black.
We have a chaotic bi moment of the chaotic bi moment. And you're watching Black Bi Reality.
Black Bi Baddies.
And those who love us. Hello, you're watching or listening to Black Bi Reality Podcast, a place for Black Bi Baddies, those who love us, and reality TV. Before we get into our recap today, I just wanted to remind you to please, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like this video if you're enjoying what you're seeing, and comment and let us know your opinions on what went down in this episode. We have recaps with other Survivor peeps also on the channel from the previous episodes, one being Sabaya Broderick as our guest, two being Katura Tops of Survivor 45. So excited to continue the Survivor run with Dwight Moore. Also, if you haven't already, you can follow our podcast on the podcast apps. If you can please do that to boost our numbers and leave a review. That would be much, much appreciated. The other content that we have going on the channel is Love is Blind. Season 6 is coming up this Wednesday. We already did a reaction to the trailer, a deep dive into the Meet the Cast video. So if you're interested in that show, please check it out. We will be doing recaps with Quita Tinsley again. And coming up later on this month, we have Couples to Throuple premiering season 1 on Peacock. So that should be some good Black queer mess that we're going to get into with some guests. So please follow the podcast or subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And other than that, here is our episode 6 recap with Dwight Moore. Hello, you are watching Black Bi Reality. I am your host, Nicole Weaver, and for episode 6 of the Traitors, I have Dwight Moore of Survivor 43. Dwight, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to talk about it. I've been loving the show so far, so I'm excited to speak about it.
Exactly. Before we get into it, what have you been doing since Survivor, for people curious?
Since Survivor, so when I played Survivor, I was in grad school, so I finished grad school, moved out to New York, and I've been working out here as a software engineer since August. It's now February, so yeah, past 6 months I've been in New York.
Nice. I love that for you.
I've been loving New York a lot more than I thought I would. It's been a good transition so far, so I'm really happy about it.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee originally, and I went to school in California.
Okay, that's interesting. We have weird crossover. I was born somewhat raised in California. I was in New York working, and then I moved from New York after the pandemic to Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Ooh, nice. I love Chattanooga. Chattanooga, they have a nice, really good internet system out there, right? That city.
Yes, they advertise it as Gig City, but my dumb self, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, they have a lot of jobs. That's cool.
I love that.
And then finally it clicked so recently, Dwight. I'm 2 years going on to 3, and I was like, oh, they're talking about the internet.
No, I always talk about that because where I live in Memphis, the internet, my parents' house sucks. I'm just if only else in the rest of the state, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But if I was at home in Memphis, we would not be doing this podcast because the video quality would be so bad.
Oh,
so
bad. Interesting. I still mean to go to Memphis, but it's a drive. It's
nice. I recommend. Highly recommend.
Absolutely. All right. Shall we get started on episode 6? It's called Backstab and Betrayal?
Backstab and Betrayal. Finally, the show's about. So
yeah, absolutely.
Dominated by the Traitors so far, but this time.
Okay, before we get into this episode, though, what has your reaction been to the season so far?
I've been loving it so far. So, I mean, the Traitor selection, perfect. Could have been better.
Okay.
Like, I've watched Survivor forever, watched Big Brother for a long time, so it's like, okay, great. Dan, Parvati, Traitors, great. Phaedra, I personally haven't been exposed to many of the Bravo Housewives. I don't think I've watched any of the shows, but Phaedra's killing it. So, she's doing very well. And the rest of the Housewives have kind of been like, I think their House of Bravo folks have been kind of like a clique, so some of them did get banished, murdered, but they're still pretty strong. And they got Kate added, so that's a big benefit as well to them, which I think we'll get to a lot later. But I think the addition of Kate has been a benefit to the Bravo folks.
Yeah. If you were in this game, would you be one of the Survivor players guilty of underestimating the Housewives?
I don't think I try getting to know people in general. Like just talking, I don't like underestimating folks. I play a lot of board game, video game stuff, so underestimating people is always super dangerous. So not the point of underestimating, but it's just I guess you have a higher awareness at the start for the quote unquote Big Brother Survivor folks. But you can never like any of these shows, Big Brother Survivor, they recruit people. People apply and they're playing for the first time, and people who play for the first time are incredible at those games sometimes. Some of the best Big Brother Survivor players were literally recruits, had no idea what the game was, came in and dominated. So to expect someone from like these Housewives or like Bachelor shows to be dumb, thinking, oh, they can't play because we've done it before, is a naive way of thinking because you were a newbie at first once and you dominated your show. So I think they can't come in and be a newbie to these games and dominate a show as well is a bit naive thinking. And I think this episode is a good example of that.
Oh, yeah. All right. So the beginning of this episode, we see we're at breakfast. Kate, Parvati, Sheree, they're in first. CT and Dan join, and Dan says in his interview, it's a huge risk to kill Bergie, but he said in front of everyone, I'm gonna be writing your name down. So he decided to go for it. What was your reaction to Dan before the big reveal?
I mean, I'm personally surprised he went for Bergie so hard, because, someone's saying, I'm going to come for you, and then them getting murdered. Even, you can pitch it as, it's a frame job, but I feel like at this point, Dan hasn't socialized too much. It's kind of been displayed. He's been kept to himself. So it won't take much people to be like, oh, well, even if it's a frame job, let's vote him out, because there's no harm, no foul. Sometimes in this game, you want to protect your friend, but it doesn't seem like Dan has many close friends that he may need to protect him. The Housewives protect each other. Phaedra and Parvati, as much as they, have their differences, they've been keeping each other safe in this game toward just being, both of the Survivor folks. They haven't voted for each other yet. Parvati hasn't tried to murder Sandra. And Dan hasn't known anymore. Even Janelle, they went out with each other, Dan and Janelle, and now Janelle's gone. So he has really no one to back him up. So you could possibly leave Bergie in and pitch the argument of, well, if I was a traitor, I would have killed him, and that might be more believable than just Bergie's dead. Let's just, get Dan out, solve that world, and move on from there. Because no one's going to really... It seems like no one would go bad for Dan and say, we're going to miss him as a faithful. His detective skill is why they're keeping him, and he hasn't detected anything.
I'm not surprised, I guess, because we see later Parvati's on the same track. She's just like, it might be very obvious, but I'm going to try and take out Peter because he's on me, so... But... yeah, in this case, Parvati was this could be a trap, and Dan was just not hearing it. So, did not. No, he was it's a bachelor.
And I'm surprised Parvati didn't push back more, because, if it puts Dan at risk alone, fine, but it puts Parvati at risk, too, and she said still it's fine. That surprised me if she let it go. Yeah. Because she was on the top of, a few names. She didn't know how few it was at the time, but she still realized, he told Dan, he told me. You don't know how many others he's told, but at least I'm on the short list now of unknown links. So why would I want to be included in that? But she still allowed it, which surprised me.
I'm happy she did. Honestly. So everyone starts filing in, and, everyone's like, dang, Bergie's gone. But then Bergie walks in. Peter could not be happier. Phaedra's happy to have her burgalicious. Dan is shook.
Dan is terrified. He's like, oh, well, I got outplayed. Did not work. Underestimated the Bachelor. So I had no familiarity with Pete whatsoever, but amazing play by him. It was very smart.
Yeah.
I liked how they, for once, the one time they don't reveal who has the shield, it turns into a good gameplay again.
Exactly. This is going to be copied for seasons in the future.
I hope they do it more often. That could cause a lot more fluid gameplay and actually you're on the Traitor side.
Yeah, very true. Because they even talked about the safe people were the ones who were inside, and it's like, yeah, I'm kind of glad that they just went against their better judgment, because it makes...
Luckily for them, I think all the inside people weren't beneficial kills, right? It was CT,
right.
John, and
Sandra.
all 3 traitors. Yeah, and Sandra and all 3 traitors. So it worked out for them that all their targets were outside.
Now, Peter, he then goes into his big master plan that he only leaked it to CT, Parvati, and Dan. Phaedra makes it very clear, well, you didn't tell me, so pass the meat over here. I kind of was against Peter actually explaining his method, because I'm like, you want to use the strategy later, right? Like, well, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it's 2 options. One, you can start the day putting those names out there, get the ball rolling, and that works too. Or you could wait till the round table. I actually don't mind the strategy because it's Dan and Parvati. You know, they're both very known to be very good speakers, very influential. So giving that info at the round table might give them time to, say something right back, and maybe not sway enough minds. But with this, in the morning, they're already going to be shocked by the reveal of the murder not working. They're going to be on the back foot, already defensive, to come out with that and have a whole group jump on them right then and there. And the group thing part of it as well, he already has, Band of Faithfuls or whatever. So I think it wasn't a bad idea to get that started in the morning, and just have the entire focus of the day be on those 2 instead of just, letting other names come up during the day, and then at the round table try and narrow it down. Setting that list early on is a good way to make sure one of those 3 will go home.
Yeah. I do like that CT is now fully getting the benefit of the doubt. Peter was like, yeah, I linked it to CT, but I don't even think he's a traitor anymore.
He's going to be at the end at this point. No one's going to banish him, it feels like. They're just like, well, it could be CT. They might murder him, but I don't see a reason. It's not like he's really on to anybody, per se, unless they want to cause quote-unquote chaos again and just, who would kill CT? They might just do that, but as of now, he's seen as a faithful, and compared to Dan and Parvati, they're just like, CT wouldn't do it. Which, once again, underestimating people, but maybe CT just gives off really chill vibes in the house of just, I can't be a traitor.
Yeah, I'm very curious of what CT's game has been. Like, why CT over Johnny Bananas, for example, which Johnny Bananas is still very upset that he was the first out. You could check his Twitter feed about that.
I saw it during the first episode. Is he still going?
Oh, yeah. He absolutely had a comment on Dan's banishment. Are you kidding?
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. He may need to let it go. He's been on 20, 30, 40 shows. Jesus. You lose one, and you have a panic attack.
He was literally just a runner-up. Almost won House of Villains. It's okay. It's okay.
You can lose something. It's okay, bud. Let it go.
Oh, my God.
Challenge for the next 6 months or something. Take your mind off of it.
Absolutely. Oh, and I noticed Sandra is so good because she is very much acting like a faithful. When she hears Peter's whole plan, she was like, oh. She's like, wait, who did you leak it to? And it was just like, yeah, I think Sandra's doing so good. I understand, though, the faithfuls of the faithfuls keeping her out just in case, but I think she's doing a great job.
That faithful group is just all Bravo folks, right? Bravo folks is John.
No.
Is it any of the... Who is it? It's Peter?
For the Dan Hunter Club, which I made yesterday, we're down to CT and Peter, but CT is not in the Peter posse. So the Peter posse, we got John, we got Bergie, we got Trishelle, which I think is a very interesting mix that she's in there, and Kevin. It seems like every time they go into that room separate, they're there. There might be a little bit of someone else in the mix. Later on, I think Sandra is there. And then, I don't know if there's another moment. Obviously, Parvati tries to barge in. But I think this is the actual alliance.
Yeah, because at the end of the episode, I think Sandra's in the group were like, let's just barge in and walk on them. So I don't think
Yep.
Sandra's in this club per se, but I think this is a big mistake by these 5, to be honest, to do that.
Really?
I mean, to make it so obvious, because this game, at the end of the day, you have to win by making it to the end. And if these 5 trust each other, they're not going to banish each other.
No.
So if them happen to be traitors, they're going to murder them in their group. Really, they trust each other so much, which should raise alarm bells for them if none of them get murdered. But that's a whole other topic. You got to think, oh, maybe one of the traitors stringing us along. But if you're outside this group, faithful or traitor, doesn't matter which one you are. You need to get to the end to win.
Yeah.
So you should just be like, if they're all going to vote together, we'll just vote them out. It's a numbers game at that point. I think a lot of the focus of this game has been on getting the traitors out per se, and that makes sense. But keep in mind, it's a TV show. They're always going to keep adding more traitors. They're not going to be like, oh, you got 3 traitors at the beginning, correct. All 17 of you win. It's going to happen. So I'm interested to see when it becomes just a pure numbers game, like Survivor. Maybe I'm putting Survivor into this. Like
exactly.
But it could just become a Survivor-esque game of, if they're going to vote together, we're going to vote together too. Get them out, and we'll play the game once we get to the 7 or whatever. We know someone's going to be traitors inevitably. It would happen if these not yet. Someone would be a traitor because the game. The show has to continue. They can't end the show early.
Yeah.
So just go to the end with people you like, and then try to figure it out from there. And I am curious if that happens this season with the clear line in the sand that these 5 have drawn.
Yes. It is a toss-up, but then again, it's so obvious that they just do seem like the personalities who are not a traitor. So it's like, can you blame them? Like, that's my big thing about almost everything that Parvati says or does in this episode. It's like, can you blame them, girl? Like, so, and my instinct also is like, I get it. I think, yeah, you are coming in with a gamer's mindset. When Janelle made those clear alliances, I was like, oh God. Yes, good thing and bad thing is that it could turn into the more strategic Big Brother or Survivor gameplay where it's about numbers. I think I'm starting to quiet on that theory that that's happening, though, because, I mean, Phaedra, she took out one of her own with Tamra, so I was like, okay, so she kind of doesn't really care. And yeah, we've been seeing the murders and banishments still not be totally gamers versus everyone else, so
Yeah.
I would just try to get in this group. I think that's the thing. You have to try and get in this group.
I mean, even if you get this, if you try and add this up to the group later, people may be like, oh, well, maybe they're a traitor trying to save themselves. So it's still a risk of, if this group formed naturally, trying to insert yourself could be a risk once it comes down to just this group per se. And there's no way some of this group doesn't get murdered later on unless one of them's a traitor, which might happen later on. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, so everyone, Alan, of course, comes in. He starts, you know, being like, oh, I got to make a statement. I got to show you my outfit, and we're going to go for a mission. Everyone does talk a little bit, though. And so this is where we're pulling one-on-ones. Peter is a bachelor, and he has 2 one-on-one dates. The first one being with Parvati, okay? And Parvati's just like, well, how do I not know that you're a traitor, Peter? And he's just like, you really believe that, Parvati? You really believe I'm a traitor?
I'll get to this later, but part of that line of reasoning of could Peter be a traitor is I think something that maybe they did bring it up and it just wasn't shown, but I think that's something that should have been brought up a lot stronger by Dan and Parvati, and I'll get to that later, because I have I was reading stuff on Twitter on Thursday and Friday about this whole banishment stuff, and I was like, I actually highly disagree. I'll get to it in the banishment part, but it's like a line of thinking, I think, with Peter being a possible traitor that explains what happened in the episode later on. I do like the one-on-one, though. Parvati was just like, you can be a traitor, I can be a traitor, we both know that we're faithful, so we gotta accuse the other, and it's like, it's just a true statement. In any social deduction game, you form all your line of reasoning based on your known role. And in this, you have to assume, oh, if I'm assuming I'm faithful, and if this happened, then I have to think you're a traitor. And Parvati's just laying that out to Peter, which is just actually how she has to think. It's just a weird conversation of nothing's getting said to either party. It's just well, it's not me, it's you. I know it's not me, so it has to be you. Or maybe I think it's a nothing conversation.
It truly is. It truly is. But it's an interesting standoff, because I think Parvati really tries to throw Peter off, and he's just hard, fast, no, I see right through you, and she gets a little frustrated. But this also seems to be a strategy by Dan and Parvati now of, I'm only going to accuse you after you accuse me. And it's like you said, it needs to be earlier, but it's like, there needs to be some kind of game book of like how to do this, because it just seems obvious now.
It's a weird play of like you're playing like a mafia or mafia-esque game. Mm-hmm. The job of the innocent folks in this version, the goal is to get to the end, but usually you just want to play for your team to win. And I think if you're thinking that aspect, you want your team to win as a good person, quote unquote. Your job is just to find the evil people. If you're evil, your job is to just survive.
Right.
And the fact that Dan and Parvati don't really offer anything else of here's other theories to why it could be other people, it's just focus on here it's not me and this is why. It's like a lot of red flags. I think Peter's catching up on that. Like they're not giving me any evidence of anyone else. They're just saying it's not me. And Parvati, it's not me. It could be you. And saying it in front of no one else is not going to convince me any less that it's me because I know it's not me. So it's like a weird thing to say. I think it was an odd choice to say by Parv, but still, I mean, maybe there's a lot more in the conversation we didn't. I would think that she wouldn't just say, it's not me, it's you, bye. You know, I guess it doesn't seem Parvati-esque.
Yeah. Dan's also scrambling. He's scrambling, and then he pulls the Bachelor move of, all right, your time with the Bachelor is done. It's now my time. And Dan, he says in his confessional that he's been playing too slow and not aggressive enough, and it's like, finally.
I mean, he's right, but he's also been told that by too many people, and it's late to change to that. Like,
exactly.
If you're going to the game, he has to know his reputation is the Dan that's one big brother. They all think he's won twice. But
how are we getting away with saying that, by the way? So many times.
I don't know. He probably corrected them all at the end. But still, it's like, if you're going to come to this game, you know your reputation. The only way you're going to be kept alive is if you're contributing to finding the traitors. Like, that's your only contribution. Your job is, you're seen as, like, the quote-unquote smartest in the room. So, you work for us. And if you're going to sit there and not even contribute theories, like, if he's not saying his theories to anyone in the game, you're making it very obvious you're just playing defensively. And that's the act of a traitor. Like, I think, I don't know I don't know what happened in the background in season 1. But in Cerie's case, you have to imagine you're pitching theories all the time. People were like keeping her there, like really doing the socializing and stuff, or talking about who the traitors could be. And it doesn't seem like Dan was doing that at all, based on people saying, "Why haven't you told us anything? Who are you getting a traitor if you haven't told us anything?"
Yep.
Just not how you should be playing as a quote unquote evil in one of these social election games.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. Peter, I think he's done his homework, because he said, to be honest, you were always in my top 3, which is fair.
Yeah, valid. I mean, you walk into the game, you see, like, oh, Big Brother Dan, staying with Parvati, one of them is a traitor. Like, my top 3, I don't care what you say, I don't care if they're all, like, owned by production, they're going to be faithful, one's a traitor. I don't care, one's a traitor.
Yep.
Has to be.
Yep. Dan, he tries to guilt trip him and says, in the end tonight, if it comes out when I say that I'm a faithful, just don't take it to heart. And Peter just sits back and he's just smirking. Like,
okay.
Sure. Okay.
Sure, bud.
Okay.
Great. Acknowledged. Anyway, moving on.
Yes. Because it's not happening, my boy. Alright, we got a mission. And, they have to add $20,000 to this pot. They start at the castle. Alan is like, hey, you're going to build a catapult. You're going to go all the way over to that hill. By the way, you're picking up different parts of this catapult, dragging it all the way over there, and you got to do this in an hour, which is wild. There's also ammo shields along the way that people can pick up for the chance to get one shield.
I really like that. First of all, ain't no way to do this in an hour. I'm sorry. No.
Thank you.
This timer is for show. It's for TV. There's no chance this group got that done. The river alone took 10 minutes. I promise you. There's
10 minutes is like also generous with the housewives. First of all, the river. They get to a fast-moving river and like chaos ensues. I have the clip of what it sounded like because it was just too good.
Shield on it. I know that I need a shield during this mission. I am going for it. I need a shield. Please let me get it. Let me get it. No. Shit. Oh, she's on the ground.
Oh my god.
Honestly, I love the Trishelle Kevin moment. It was great. What I would have given for Janelle to have been here for this mission too, because Janelle would have drowned someone from the box. She would have moved.
Yes, with one gamer with Janelle fallen, Trishelle has risen. Like,
yes, this is my job now. I will get all this.
Yes.
Kevin, that was great. It was a small thing, but Phaedra Parks, I think it was Sheree walking together, and they were all stumbling on each other. That was funny.
Yes.
They're having a good time with this.
They're
just good for them. These are just kind of, okay, take your mind off the game. You have an hour to do this. Just get it done. Just get it done. Okay, have fun.
Yes.
It's just like a little, I just say it's a recess. They get to have fun before they go back to work. They're having a little break. The only thing about the game at this point is who's getting the shields. So, I mean, the shield boxes seemed heavy too, because they were all, struggling to carry those, which was, I'm surprised they had to make them work that hard. Good thing they had someone they still had CT and stuff to just drag all the heavy catapults and stuff. So, I mean,
right.
It looks like a fun challenge, but still a lot of work.
A lot of work, and that's the thing, is I don't know how much it is recess, especially for these housewives, because they are pushing, pulling, doing all the things. So yeah, along the way, Sheree also gets an ammo box. Trishelle, I'm still very curious about this Trishelle and Kevin duo that started, and yet they also will knock each other down for a shield. So, but that's interesting. Who else gets one? Dan goes for one.
I think Sandra gets one, right?
Yes.
Harvey gets one, and then I believe Peter got the last.
Yes, Peter was like, I absolutely need this.
He could have stolen it at the end.
I know.
I was hoping she did. That would be funny.
But she said, it feels so desperate to get a shield. I think Kate knows her character is I actually don't care about this game as much, so using a shield, stealing a shield is just out of character.
And also, I think everyone knows, when she joined the game, there had been no traitors vanished. Mm-hmm. So from a production standpoint, these people all know TV. They can probably figure out. We start with X amount of traitors. That has not changed. They're not going to add a new one to them when we suck at faithful. Mm-hmm. So I think the whole house knows Kate's faithful. There's no point in worrying about her. She's prime murder material, so in my eyes, she should be grabbing the shield. But her job is just vibes. Cool, go for it. They're going to murder her eventually because they know, she's the most guaranteed faithful at this point. But what can you do?
Interesting. Maybe. I wouldn't automatically think that, but Kate keeps saying, people keep turning to me like I'm an expert, and it's I just got here. It's that's how much they're scrambling right now.
I think it's genuinely they realize, we haven't gotten a traitor yet. They're not going to just add them a new one, because that would be honestly game breaking at that point, to just give them an extra member when they've been sweeping the entire game. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people are trying to be listen, I basically know you're faithful. Let's talk theories, because that's the best, the most trust you can have with just someone who just joined the game.
Absolutely. Alright, so at the end, everyone who had an ammo box has to put it on the hay. They do. John first gets to use the catapult to just finish up the mission, and everyone was cheering for him. John has turned around his breathing.
Good for him. He a gift from the gods. This man's healed. We love that for him.
Yes.
Also, I genuinely want to know how many takes it took for the catapult shot to hit the target.
Yeah.
They didn't know it the first time. We all saw
No.
we saw them shooting from the shield. 3 of them missed the target altogether. There's no way he's like, oh, we did it with 40 seconds left. Oh my God, guys, we won. We finished in an hour. Please,
yes.
Stop it. Stop lying.
Thank you for saying that, because it always comes down to the very last second. Production.
The first scout was the worst offender. They said 40 seconds left, and they had all had to swim back to shore. Hey, I'm sorry, Jobs don't swim back to shore in 40 seconds.
No.
I love him. No, that's not happening. So listen. Everyone knows it's just for flair. It's great. I gotta say, can't just say, yeah, we give him 6 hours. Just take your time.
Yep.
Y'all got it. No rush.
With all the people who have an ammo shield box, Peter has to go last because everything's hinging on this, whether he's going to get murdered or not. And he comes too short. Sheree wins, which Sheree, her performance in this whole entire game.
He's vibing. Good for Sheree. She's not getting murdered tonight. She
Nope.
wasn't getting banished in any universe. Good for Sheree. I hope she makes it to the end. And just where am I? What am I doing? What is this? Why is there
What
fire?
does this mean? Do I get finally the financial backing for my clothing line? That's for the Real Housewives fans over there. I'm still rooting for Sheree and Phaedra to get to the end because I just want the drama of that to be in a future Housewives season.
That'd be actually hilarious.
Yes.
You betrayed me on the I hope, please.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, that's gonna be great. Oh, but yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying Sheree though. For real, it's a weird thing of this show when you're faithful. It's hard to get a quote unquote good edit because you have to be right in one. All these shots in the dark.
Yeah.
Peter just happened to land. If Peter told 3 faithful, then they don't put in the edit. It never happened. Whatever. But he just got 2 or 3 because Dana Harvey are naturally suspicious as being the gamers, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can't blame people for being bad faithful too much outside of 1 or 2 people on this season, Kevin. So yeah, she's doing her best. She's in the castle, living her best life, and we love her for that.
Love her. So everyone has to drive in cars back. Kate, Sheree, and CT are in one car. Kate and Sheree say they're more certain about Parvati than Dan, which was interesting. The next car, I'm already going to pull it up. My misguided faithful of the week goes to Kevin.
Thank God. Okay, I think I just said that to you on the same point.
Yes, because Kevin's in the car, and he tells MJ, Phaedra that Dan hasn't done anything. So why are we banishing him tonight? And I think Kevin is going to get banished eventually if he keeps up just for the bad reads. Because what are you talking about? You're protecting Dan at this point.
I mean, the whole thing, Dan hasn't done anything. That's why he's getting banished.
Exactly.
The whole house is, Dan, you said nothing. Kevin's no, it's good. Keep doing nothing. You're doing amazing, sweetie. You're doing great. I'm like, my guy.
You missed the plot.
I mean, like I just said, it's hard to bash the faithful too much, but when the whole house is saying one thing, and you're like, no, that's a good, I can't defend that as much.
No.
No. Stop it. Just let them talk. Let them suspect you. Just write down the name they tell you to. And move on. And live, hopefully. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the kind of person you take to the end if you're his friend.
I could still see, especially people who want to infiltrate the Peter posse, they could be like, hey, remember when Kevin was defending Dan? Ooh, that's what Phaedra should do, quite honestly, after what Dan does. But we have one more card to talk about. I said producers were messy because they put Trishelle, Peter, Dan, and Parvati in the same car going back. Yo, Peter's so funny. He says, I'm staying on their necks. Because Peter was like, guys, can you just promise that the murder tonight's going to be painless?
That was great. That was... I wish I just said, no promises. Just say it right back. Give it to him. Like, yeah, you're dying. That's it.
Trichelle's like, okay. Parvati, in her interview, is just like, Peter needs to get off my back. And at the same time, she's like, yeah, he's getting murdered tonight. So.
It's just like, keep it up. I dare you. In Peter's world, if you think you're going to get murdered no matter what, to keep saying it is like you're going to get murdered by them if they're traitors, or you're going to be murdered as a setup. Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like you're going to be frame job. Yeah, you're going to be killed as a frame for someone, or murdered by them. So, like, in either case, you're dead. You're just dead now. Like, if you don't say it, maybe as a world they just don't realize framing you is the best option. But they keep thinking, like, I'm going to die. You're going to make it reality.
I think at this point he doesn't care. I don't know. My one theory is that he doesn't care because he got his win. He came out with his theory, and, like, he was Janelle's bestie. Janelle tweeted, she was like, Peter was my K-Star in this, which is huge compliment.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so he already saw Janelle go being right. So he's like, I'm going to go out on the same fate. And you know what? I'm here to prove I had a strategic mind. I did that. So I kind of get it. But also I see it as a strategy of like these faithfuls that have freaking, they have goldfish memories. He's like, if I keep saying I'm getting murdered tonight because Dan and Parvati are faithful, hopefully someone remembers and then they get banished next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it has happened a lot worse. There's a train of thought one night, like between two people, they get one the next day. New plot point. Ignore what happened. Like,
yeah.
Okay, let it go. It's cool.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Alright, so everyone, this is the time where everyone goes their separate ways and gets their last chance to talk before the banishment ceremony. Honestly, if I'm still keeping it into bachelor terms, this is cocktail hour before the rose ceremony.
I'm not feeling the bachelor, so I'm going to let you take that one.
Yeah. Everyone's trying to put in their final smoozing to get that rose.
Gotcha, I see. Terms like scramble before tribal council, I guess.
Yes.
In my think.
Exactly. So, Peter, once again, he closes the door. There's some of the Peter posse in this room. He has Sheree, John, and Bergie. So it's like Sandra, Sheree, we got someone else in the mix here. And they say, maybe it's not Dan, but they're confident it's Parvati. So Parvati's on her last leg.
Parvati is struggling. It is tough for her.
Yes. Meanwhile, Parvati actually does try to come in. Peter's just like 1 second, and she's just not having it with that.
Doesn't care. So I'm sitting down anyways. Let's move. Like, oh, what's the name going to be? And yeah, what looks like a burger. It's like, okay, who's the name? It's like Dan, and it's like, and?
Yeah.
Dan and who?
Yeah. So, I love that. Also, you have to work for it. Love it.
And also, like, she's played Survivor all the time. It's Survivor, if you're hearing one name and only one name,
mm-hmm.
the other name is you. Mm-hmm. And she knows that. She's like, oh, Dan and who? You're not hearing anything else? You know you're the second name.
Yes.
In every conversation, it's always options. You want to talk, you want to weigh the options of different people. If no one's weighing options with you, you are the option being weighed. Mm-hmm. And she basically just calls him out on that. It's like, yep, it's Dan and me. I get it. Cool. Moving on.
Yeah. Pretty much. And it's so interesting because I'm on the Bergie watch because I feel like his journey socially this season has been so interesting. His stock has been rising, but with Parvati going for Bergie, it's still like a little bit seen as like Bergie is at least a little easier maybe to manipulate. But I think he does a good job. He's like the little brother because I noticed when Parvati asks, he's looking at Peter for reassurance.
She's like, what do I say?
Exactly. It's like, oh, Bergalicious is a little shook by the Black Widow, just a little bit.
He's staring at me and talking to me, help.
Dan, meanwhile, he's working it. Dan pulls Peter aside and he's like, look, I've been working on something and I'm going to give a name. Everyone's been asking. This is the time that you guys have been waiting for and I just need you to keep an open mind. Peter was over it because he said So to be clear, you're giving me the name at the round table? Dan does not even think what the tone or the question of that would be. He's just like, yeah.
Like, I'll wait. Which choice?
A choice, Dan. A choice.
If he was going to say Parvati's name at the round table alone, I think that's fine. But to come out of left field with a new name, you need to get that ball rolling all day to get people paranoid and thinking about that, be like, maybe he's right. If you say like a completely new name at the round table, you're just doing yourself. I feel like at that point.
Yeah, I've seen people be like, well, maybe he really thought it would be just taken more seriously because he's not throwing out the most obvious. I mean, last time he said Janelle just because, like, she was accusing him. This is kind of the opposite of that, but it's just like, Dan, you could have started this now. Now we're getting into the round table. And Dan, he is the one to kick things off, probably as he should. So he says, I've been watching one person since day one. Already a problem if it's like, you've been watching this person since day one and it was Phaedra? Just say, you've been watching everyone since day one.
I mean, also, he just threw Janelle's name at the last round table. So
Yeah.
why not bring up your name then if you're already getting heat? Like, this scream, like, based on Priest's action kind of screams like, oh, desperation.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, to his point, he maybe should have done it in a better fashion than waiting on the day. Maybe he did bring it up the name earlier, maybe he said to one people, but based on the reaction, people were just like, Phaedra? Fine. So, I don't think that was the best idea. But he brought up, his reasons were the Ekin-Su vote, as I recall, right?
Yes. He said, first of all, he first starts with, who hasn't had their name down? We got Parvati, Fergie, Sheree, Phaedra, and Sandra. Then he whittles it down to, Parvati and Phaedra for weird votes. Who hasn't voted with the group? He takes Parvati away because she explained her vote for Kevin. Okay. He then says, Phaedra. She voted for Ekin-Su before she got murdered. Which is like, this is why Phaedra knew what your ass was doing in the first place, getting Ekin-Su. And she called both of y'all out. Now you're like, ooh, my little seed that was so obvious that you were planting is now here. And yeah, he was like, she voted for Ekin-Su and no one explained. Phaedra was red tea. She said, everyone knows I voted for Ekin-Su because she changed her story up on Janelle. I'm assuming this is about the shield.
It has to be. But, that was, I feel her defense at first was a bit flustered until Kate started coming in saying, oh, this is, why is Burger suspicious? Why is, Kate being added to the game helped Phaedra in this round table so much. So I think without Kate, there's not as much of a loud voice to back her up, and maybe there's more doubt on Phaedra. Mm-hmm. But Kate backed up every single one of Phaedra's, she defended all of Dan's points against Phaedra when Dan brought them up. She's being extra. That's just who she is. The reaction, why is Burger suspicious? Kate was riding for Phaedra here. Which was undoubtedly, the best thing that could happen to Phaedra. And all the wrong ones, Kate getting at it is amazing. Also, Kate was against Dan for, the moment she took anyways, which is hilarious.
Love it.
But, I mean, the Ekin-Su vote theory, I mean, maybe this is something I don't fully understand, but the rogue votes at roundtables, I just don't put too much stock into those. They voted, and, a lot of these people voted with the majority being horribly wrong. So I don't, maybe I'm not the biggest, they voted on a stray vote. It happens,
Yeah.
I don't see it as a big deal. I think jumping on who had a rogue vote is just kind of, why would a traitor rogue vote? In my eyes. A rogue vote puts attention on you, traitors don't want attention. So a rogue vote to me is more so just they're willing to put their neck out there to say what they think. In my eyes, that's less traitors' behavior.
Agreed.
The one sentence that did kind of give me pause when Phaedra was saying herself was saying, well, everyone knows that. I mean, me personally, I know when I get a bit when I'm playing I played Mafia and esque games a lot. So I start with this as my own habits. But when I feel I've said this to X person, or well, you know this about me, or you know I wouldn't do X. To try to put the knowledge on someone else and make them think, oh, maybe I'm the one that's mistaken. It's like they're like, oh, you know me, you know I would never do this. It's like, oh, maybe I do know that, you know. But if she's saying everyone knows that, to make everyone else think, oh, maybe I'm the one that's forgetting, but maybe she knows she said it to me. So trying to flip it on other people is usually a defensive tactic. So that was the one thing. It's like, it is the biggest death traitorous. Maybe you say, I explained this to people. It's the same message, but saying different way.
Oh, that's an interesting perspective. I think we have different reads, honestly, on Phaedra during this whole thing, because I didn't think she was flustered at all. I thought she was, like, calm as a cucumber, and she...
At the end, she was hurt. Like, I think at the very beginning of the action,
yeah.
she was, like, a little bit, like, me, okay. But, like, after Kate butted in, she gave, like, she wrecked Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. It did help her a lot. That is for sure. When she said everyone knows that, I was like, oh, she put the work in. Because that's the thing is, like, Phaedra obviously has so many social ties with these people that it's like, okay, maybe she did actually tell everyone that. But it's like, yeah, there could be another read on that. Anyway, Parvati, she sees the writing on the wall. So, yeah.
I know this man. Who? Dan who? Nah. Get him. Get him.
Yes. So what she does is, like, first she tries to do what she did with the Real Housewives before at the round table. She's like, we just need to all remember that there's a strong group forming, and Peter's at the head of that. So yeah, let's keep that in mind. By the way, I only was friends with Dan because he talked to me on the first day. Bye.
Right. Like, he was just friendly, but outside that, don't know him, don't have his number. I'll block him after this. Like, never liked him anyway. We all hate that guy now. We hate that guy now. Yeah, no.
Totally. But it's like, she was so obviously on the Dan boat from the beginning. I don't know why she hasn't worked harder to get in with Phaedra. Like, I get it. Dan was like, there was no way I was going to win against Phaedra. That's why he worked so hard against her. But it's like, does Parvati really think that? Like, I'm still thinking she says she's so much about, like, working with women, and she's known for a very successful women's alliance on Survivor. I'm just like, why is the option never also like, I need to get in with my other traitor in case the other one falls out?
I mean, it seems like when after the episode, I mean, when they're going to the turret, it seems like they're fine at that point. It's like, yeah, Kate was wilding.
True.
Maybe she has gotten in better with them, but it's just the suspicion on her that day is hard to. But she's kept her options open, which there's a lot more than Dan has. Dan seems to just be like, Harvey's my option traders, and that's it. Harvey kind of options open with Dan and Phaedra, because he went at Phaedra a bit in the past. It seems like whatever they did that day, they recommended it because, I mean, Harvey didn't jump at all on this whole Phaedra thing. She wrote down Dan's name, didn't back Dan up at the round table at all. Like, they just let her hand with Dan, just like, whatever, leave him alone. And she brought up the Peters group. She didn't bring up the Housewives group again. She let that train go. She's like, yeah, Housewives, y'all are chill. Y'all are great. But Peters posse, that's a threat. So, I mean, I think that she's going to keep that option open with the Phaedra and Housewives kind of realizing the Housewives are, I don't think the strongest. Like, I know Peters posse is pretty strong, but I think the Housewives are the strongest faction in terms of, like, level of trust between them.
In the end, he keeps going. He keeps going down swinging, but Dan is finally banished. His last words, though, because he put one more punch in, is that, you know, I should have known better, Phaedra, than to go up against an elegant lawyer. All right, is Dan bitter, or he really, like, what's going on?
I mean, I think that was just him trying to be, like, nice. I don't think that was a bitter thing too much. I think it's just like, damn, I tried. But I just think you are reminding people she's a lawyer. He does put a little bit more heat on her that wouldn't have been there. But
exactly. I think he's trying to paint that target. He's like, if I'm going down, we're all going down. Parvati's already a sinking ship. I have to remind people that Phaedra is suspicious for whatever reason. But lastly, just remember, you guys, she's a lawyer.
Yeah, it could be. I'm not sure if it's like what the intent, but the impact it had definitely is to remind people, like, she's on someone's radar she may not have been otherwise. Like I said, she had never gotten a vote beforehand, and now she's gotten a vote, and now there's eyes on her. Like Rochelle mentioned, Dan's play was to feed people a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
And to go after Phaedra, she's realizing maybe that means Phaedra was a traitor because that was his play. And this is what I do want to get into now, because this is what I mentioned earlier. I think a lot of people on Twitter were saying, at this round table, Dan should have gone after Parvy, because Parvy's name was out there, and that was the easiest option. Save him and Sanjay was easier to do. I actually think going after Phaedra was his best move by far for long-term survival.
Okay.
And the reason, and that is you're at 3 Traitors. You get someone banished, you get Phaedra banished, no, it's a long shot, but you get Phaedra banished, you go down to 2. And that's Dan and Parvy. At that point, you have to assume you're going to be able to recruit, and I still think in that case you recruit Peter, 100%. What you have to do at that point is build a world in which, because remember, this whole shield plan, Peter said he told CT, told Dan, told Parvati.
Mm-hmm.
What they have not mentioned in retaliation is Peter himself also knew where the shield was.
Mm-hmm.
If Peter wanted to, he could say Dan, Parvati, CT knew, himself as a traitor, go after Bergie, quote unquote, try to kill him, and then waste 3 banishments on Dan, Parvati, CT. So what, maybe this was Dan's plan, but like this is how I saw it of going to Phaedra. If you get Phaedra banished, recruit Peter, immediately push this world of him wasting 3 banishments, get Peter banished, it basically reveals he's then a traitor. That clears Dan, Parvati, CT for a bit, saying this was a world that he was putting together to waste our time, but you see he's a traitor, that means he was trying to frame all of us, leave us alone. That was his only plan of long-term survival. Short-term survival, cool, go after Parvati, but you probably get banished next because those 2 are still out there, and no one's really going to go after and defend, Dan in that case. Just like, oh, whatever, we lost the Edgar Reyes. But if you were able to build this world of Peter's a source of misinformation, Peter's the cause of it, and then it's revealed Peter was in fact a traitor, even if you don't know he just was recruited, it shows he's a traitor at that point. Anything that originates from him, his plan, goes awry. So I don't mind him going after Phaedra, although it didn't work. If he'd done it earlier, great. But that's how I think that's what I think he should have done, and I think what he did do.
Nice.
I played too many Mafia games.
No, this is good. I feel like you're bringing the brain to this podcast episode. I'm all heart. I'm like, he went after the best gamer so far. He's bitter. He was surprised. He underestimated a housewife, and he just wanted to take her down. He ended up saying he spotted how well she was playing. I will say that, so it's like he didn't completely underestimate her. He was just like, yeah, it's not going to happen if Phaedra is still here. Everyone's celebrating. We're on a high. Once again, Peter's posse do what they do best. Because at first, everyone's chilling in, like, the bar room and celebrating. But Peter's posse's like, gotta get together.
Let's go.
And
losers.
yes. So all of a sudden, Peter's posse gotta go. But this time it's Trishelle, John, Peter, and Bergie. Yeah. Kevin sneaks in. He later does join them. And so they're talking about, okay, tonight, definitely one of us is getting murdered. Phaedra tells everyone, yeah.
This, like, finally everyone's realizing, these 5 are just excluding us. Let's get them. They just all run in the room, too. Parvati kind of Parvati walks in being like, what y'all doing?
What you got cooking over here?
Right. I mean, they're making it very clear that they're a clique, which, once again, dangerous. They're all very convinced one of them's going to get, murdered. And I'm curious to see when they all wake up and see no one's been murdered. They're going to put together some recruitment, because no one's going to kill Sheree. They all know it's Sheree. So I wonder if these 5 will then immediately realize, oh, one of us was recruited, because that's their best play. And unfortunately, I think Peter would be the one to realize that, but Peter, is the one. So will he bring that up, or will he just let the rest be like, it can't be, we're still in the faithful, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh my god,
yeah.
Don't put it together, I'm going to lose.
He's going to have to put on his best acting if he says yes, because he has to stay consistent, and he was such a blowhard. It's going to be a huge test of his skills now.
He doesn't know who the other traitors are. He won't know. Nothing really changes for him in terms of what you have to know, because that first, you just don't know who the traitors are. So it's just, in his mind, keep going at Harvey. If you get another traitor, cool. Like, even as a traitor, you still have your posse at that point, so get another traitor, in their eyes, assuage their fears of, we're still down like 2 or 3 traitors. Get another one. Cool. It doesn't change a thing. I don't care if Parvati walks up to you and says, I recruited you. I don't care. Bye. Leave. Not my problem. So, I mean, for him, I think you just keep doing what you're doing. You have your 5. You have the people who trust you. As long as they don't put together that a traitor was recruited from that group, which, like, once again, is obviously the only play the traitors have. Just inflict the group. But if they don't realize that, then, 1, no hope for them. You're gone. 2, I mean, Peter can just run the game to the end with those 5, and then hope for the best.
So I don't remember what happened last season, but you probably know better. So they don't announce that there was a recruitment?
No, I believe they'll wake up and say no one was murdered. But
it was just that Christian last year decided to talk too much.
Christian said, I was offered a recruitment, but said no. Why? Why say that? Just shut up. No one was looking at you. Shut up. And
Ari's just like, thanks, I guess.
They'll wake up, be told there was no murder, given that the shield was known to everyone, owned by Sheree, and there's no world in which the traitors should sink a kill into a shield Sheree. They're almost certainly going to know it was a murder. I mean,
okay.
So it's going to be probably just a lot of paranoia in the morning, like, who they recruit?
Yes.
So we'll see. It should narrow it down to the 5, but
yeah. All right, so the episode does end. We did kind of skip this. Alan comes in. He shocks the bejesus out of Phaedra and Parvati. And he's like, tonight you can choose. I think it's choose to murder or recruit.
Choose to murder or recruit, yes.
Parvati said, forget all that. We are absolutely recruiting, and we are recruiting the loudest faithful. She is over him. It's so funny because she's like, he is high and mighty. He's the most bluest blood. And even just saying that, it's like, this is giving when a criminal outsmarts the police, and the police is just like, hey, want a job? Want to just work for us?
It gets, like, you hackers all the time. Like, a hacker gets arrested. We're like, so, you could do the jail time, or we have a position open. We want to hack for us.
Exactly.
Benefits? Healthcare? Like, it's exactly what they're doing right now. And I love it. Parvati's just, fuck it, we ball. Set the place on fire. I don't care anymore. I don't care if it's the best play. I don't know if she put, like, a lot of thought in, like, what's the best play. She just said, Peter, we're doing it. It's fun. It is just, why not? You know, let's have fun with it. Make a murderous friend.
Yeah.
I loved it.
That's what Phaedra says. Phaedra's like, you're on your last dying leg, so you can... I just entered the hospital.
Yeah, like, she's, like, gonna flatline any day now.
Yes.
It's like, are you still alive? Damn. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Come back tomorrow. Maybe you'll be dead. But, yeah, she is struggling. So maybe it's just let's just have fun with it. And just honestly, have a, like, little... Just shot at Peter on the way up and be like, yeah, you want to play this game, Faithful? You're a traitor now. Bye.
Bye.
So, I think it's just kind of funny.
It is. It's hilarious.
I mean, yeah, there's maybe no better option, because you could, Sandra's a really good choice. You could maybe go, like, after that display, maybe you go Sheree, after everyone knows, like, she's...
No!
It'd be funny. Listen,
it would be funny.
Would be hilarious. Let's be real, okay? It'd be great.
It would be funny, but that would be wild. A wild choice. First question, do we have a beautiful black moment of this episode?
I would 100% say Phaedra defending herself at the round table. Like, she killed it. She crushed Dan at the round table. There was no chance. She got, 1 vote from Dan himself. Not a single other person was swayed. She stood her ground on that. Like I said, at the beginning, I thought she was a bit flustered. Just getting thrown out of nowhere, but by the end of it, she had, like, a, 2-minute evisceration of Dan's argument. It was great. There was a mastermind this season. It would not be a dolled-up housewife, which, yes, it was, because she's a traitor, too. But you have to mention that. So, I mean, I love that person. She's doing amazing so far. I mean, I was not familiar with her at all before this. I didn't know who she was. I was like, okay, I got some Bravo folks. Cool. Killing it. I love it.
Killing it. Yes, that has to be mine, but I do try to get something different. I'm going to give it to Sheree, because when else could she get this? I don't know. So, Sheree, she got her ammo. She did that thing. She is safe from a murder that's not even happening. So, it's a very Sheree thing. Next, do we have a chaotic bye moment of the episode?
2. 1, Parvati at the end saying, fuck it, recruit Peter, set the place on fire, cause chaos. It was just funny. Parvati just being Parvati. It's just like, I don't really have a plan. Let's just make him a traitor and see what happens. And it's funny.
Yeah.
During this whole river scene, we have people chaotically just, flying everywhere. Just all sorts of loud noises, mess. Phaedra and CT going on a date. They're just holding hands through the river. They're just vibing. I'm just like, guys, there's a whole mission going on. Just holding on a stroll.
It's
Good
so
for them.
cute. Okay, is CT married? I don't know what the relationship status is.
Hold on, let me see. Oh, okay, nope, never mind. Nope. Oh, no, go, Jesus. First thing, the challenge is CT has settled his bitter divorce from his ex-wife, and this was in November 2023. So that was very recent. Okay.
Oh my god, I'm getting hope. Wait, is Phaedra's not married to medicine now. She's not a doctor. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying about the gamers and how they don't understand housewives. Because first of all, Phaedra fought so hard, too hard, to stay on Real Housewives that she accidentally got fired. And years later, she has risen from the ashes, goes on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, and then infiltrates Married to Medicine, and she's not even a freaking doctor.
Wait, I didn't realize she was actually on a Housewives show. I just saw Married to Medicine. Well, she was on Housewives and got fired. You get fired from Housewives.
She got fired because she started a really bad rumor about a fellow housewife. It made for a huge story of the season, and then in the reunion, Portia, a fellow housewife, was just like, Phaedra put me up to it. And you're like, oh, this all started because of Phaedra?
Oh, damn. Oh, she's just vicious. Okay.
Exactly. And now she's on Married to Medicine with the loosest connection to medicine. She's a lawyer. She owns a funeral home. So when she was telling Dan, I might be embalming you myself, she meant that shit.
Oh, damn. Oh, I love that. I love that for her.
She basically will do anything for money. Dwight.
Perfect traitor. We love that.
Exactly.
Hopefully no one gets actually murdered. Like maybe she knew at the beginning. At the beginning she was just like, okay, with the murder. It's like, ma'am, calm down. It's a fake murder. They're not dying. You're not gonna make graves for them, please. This is not business for you. But I mean,
is currently in a relationship with a doctor in Atlanta, but this was December 28th of 2023. So this is recent. This is kind of crushing my whole entire dream. The thing is that the relationship with the doctor is what keeps her on Married to Medicine, so it's one.
Married to the Challenge. New show on Bravo. You get all the challenge spouses and something. Right?
Right.
The Challenge, I think most of them are married, I think, except for Bananas, I think is never married. But whatever, we'll see. I don't know the show.
For my chaotic bi moment, those were really good. My chaotic bi moment, though, is definitely Parvati sitting next to Bergie and just like, she's in a whole room of different people. And she said, who's the easiest? Bergie? Can you fill me in? It was very Black Widow. It was very bisexual of like, I'm going to manipulate a man right now.
She was the target. She's like, everyone else, no one else in the room. She said, I got you, Bergie.
Yes.
Talk to me now. And Bergie was trying his best. He's like, nope, Peter, hi, Peter, tell me, what do I do?
Just sweating, shaking a little, like, oh my god. I loved it.
Please.
What are your predictions then?
I'm not supposed to, I remember things from the trailer so well. I know
that's the thing. That's what I was going to talk about.
Certain lines. I know Phaedra and Peter go at it at some point. So
Exactly.
I think one finished there. I'm not sure. If I had to, I still think Parvati makes it to the end with Stan. Parvati and Sandra have gotten like this screen time. They don't make as much magic and Traitors. But Parvati, I think, goes pretty far. Sandra, I'd imagine, would make it far. I'd imagine the whole Peter posse thing gets them. I would think they get demolished, considering the whole. I don't know what traitor was recruited. I don't think Peter's long for this game as a traitor, personally.
So you think he accepts?
I think he accepts, and I think he gets banished as a traitor. I don't think there's a world in which he makes it to the end. Now, once you get that recruitment letter, if you turn it down, you're going to get murdered, unless you keep fighting for shields. If you accept it, both traitors have an incentive to target you now, because at the last round table, all three traitors got votes. So you need to get heat on someone else and just feed the faithful as another traitor. And you can push that world in which Peter's leading this group of faithfuls as a traitor, which is a known strategy in other versions. that can, hopefully get him out. The Fisher's got to flip on these faithfuls. I would wager...
But our recruit in season 1 made it to the end. What's different about this season?
The recruit last time, so 3 had her, group of people, and 3's just 3. And Ari was the recruit, and he got banished at Final 4. I think it's the fact that this group is made so obvious that they're sticking together might make it easier for other people to say, hey, one of the faithful, one of the traitors in this group, let's go after one of them. And I think Party and Phaedra can lead them to Peter naturally, which, is the best option. I would guess, if I had to guess, who's at the final, round table, let's say 4 people at the end, I would guess Party, Sandra, Trishelle, John. I think those are, people who would survive.
Wow.
I don't know who would win, though. I don't know if they would... I can see Party and Sandra's little feud coming up then, trying to go each other out, but those are my 4.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a faithful win at this point for this season, because I think all the traitors have some kind of heat. If Peter accepts, I think it's to get him out. I'm just not sure when Phaedra gets banished, because that would mean that... Actually, no, I forgot about Kate. I forgot about Kate. Hold on. Maybe Phaedra wins.
But you said that you thought Kate was going out, at the very end, because you just have to banish Kate.
I think they would kill. Yeah, I think you have to kill Kate, because she's a known, faithful. Unless people think they would recruit Kate, which is another push that they could make. They could say Kate's first recruit because people think she's faithful. So I think maybe now that that's happening, maybe Kate could get banished. Now this door's open for recruitment. But I would still say Parvati, Sandra, Trishelle are my 3 of. Just also they're getting good amount of screen time too, so this just them editing me. And those 2 make to the end, I would guess. I'm just saying John. I don't think it's funny because I don't see an incentive to kill John or banish John.
Yeah, John definitely can get to the end. I think at this point.
Those are my 4.
Nice. I'm gonna keep rooting for Phaedra to win. Yeah, Trishelle's onto her, and she has been able to get out the person she wanted last time. But I don't know. Phaedra's she got deep ties.
Phaedra. Well, the addition of Kate boosts Phaedra's game so much because they are all Sheree and Kate are gonna ride for Phaedra. I'm not sure if MJ's as tight with her, but MJ seems to be riding for the Bravo folks. I think that's the whole Bravo clique now, right? The other Tamra and
Larsa are gone.
And Marcus was in that clique too by extension. So Kevin doesn't seem to get along with them at all, really. I think he's just on half the women in the house just by being obnoxious, which is funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's it for now, Dwight. Where can people follow you?
Dwight Moore _Jr. Or JR. Then that's it. Instagram is dwight.moore.jr. If you want to follow me there, I'll post maybe once a year. So it's on Instagram if you want no content. But yeah, Twitter's where I'm more active. I don't use social media. I'm not sure how I got cast on Survivor. I have no online presence. I mean, I just started Twitch streaming on occasion recently. Just, huge nerd, whatever. I just do that once or twice a week now. That's kind of it. Doing more is MORE. Doing more is the Twitch. You can follow me there. I don't know when I stream outside of Thursday or Sundays. But like I said, just gotta pitch it while I'm there, and that's kind of it. As you can see, I keep to myself. I'm low key, so I'm not really online too much. So.
Yeah. Well, we loved having you. Hopefully, you can come back sometime to talk.
Gladly.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me. Love getting to talk about these shows sometimes, especially a social deduction mafia game. Those are my obsession forever. So this show is perfect. I love watching it.
It's so good. It's so good. And now it's doing so well. It's on NBC now.
I know. They're airing season 1 on NBC, right? The first season.
I think it's this one. I think this one, and they started from episode 1 and 2.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I love that.
Very,
really nice.
Exactly. Love it for them. Alright guys, please follow Black by Reality across all socials, subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't yet, or follow the podcast and podcast apps so you never miss an episode. See you next week for the next Traitors recap or our other content. This month, Love is Blind comes back this Wednesday. I already did a reaction video to the Meet the Cast and the trailer, which was very dramatic. Very excited to start that. and we are going to be talking about couples to throuple later this month. It's a new Peacock show where couples are trying to find their third. Is it actually polyamory or just for a threesome? I don't know, but this is a Black Queer podcast, so we are covering it. Dwight, it is the show.
Couples to throuple?
Yes.
What the hell is this? Oh, geez, this is a thing.
It is.
Triple trailer. I'm gonna watch this later. Oh, Jesus. I'm not watching the show. I know. I don't watch dating shows. Really.
I know you don't.
Oh, Lord. Oh, heavens, all right. Well, that's something. That's some producer cooked that up and said this is great. And, oh, Jesus. Okay. Well.
And I'm thankful for that producer.
I'll be watching those podcasts because Lord knows I'm not going to watch a show. I can't wait to hear what you're thinking about that. So please watch Hopeless Rumble and all the other podcasts. Lord knows it's going to be exciting and very interesting. Oh, Lord.
Thank you for that. All right. That's all for today. Bye, guys.